getting his first home run in a Dodger uniform just a couple of days ago as the Dodgers made their way to Chicago, the north side, to take on the Cubs. They had a day off yesterday. They'll get ready to have a 3-game set with the Chicago Cubs this afternoon. We're still waiting for Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, to join us here momentarily on High Heat. But Chris, I'll bring you back in. Hopefully, technically, we can get things going here. But the Dodgers are off to a very good start. 7-2 so far in their recent homestand. This is a team that is scoring 5 or more runs in every single game this season. The pitching has been good enough. We already know that the offense is good, and I don't even think the entire offense is clicking on all cylinders as of yet. This is going to be a tough team to beat this season.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Dave Roberts. Giants and Dodgers finished their season on July 25th. I mean, that's tough.
That's
I mean, the Giants and the Dodgers, that's the second best rivalry in the game, finished on July 25th. So I just wanted to make sure I looked to double check it. Again, that's the byproduct of having everybody play everybody else and, having a balanced schedule, which is a lot of benefits. I'm not saying it's bad, but there is a byproduct. You have to accept it. All right, from that perspective. And the Dodgers, as you said, they're playing really well. Look, the Dodgers have 5 road trips. You know what, the Dodgers, don't they finish their season, Alana? You can look at it. I believe they finished their season in Atlanta and Miami. Is that correct?
That's strange because the Dodgers usually finish at home.
I think it's Atlanta and Miami. We'd have to double check that, but that is where I think they finished. I know we're having all sorts of internet
problems.
They
actually finished. Mark Adelberg, just in our research department, just told us that the Los Angeles Dodgers finish their season in Colorado this year. So it's going to be the top of the division versus the bottom of the division for the last series of the year.
All right, so they don't finish in Atlanta or Miami. I thought they did. Maybe they play late in the year, whatever it might be. So they do finish in Colorado. All right, from the baseball perspective. And, we should do a couple things about yesterday first. One, the Marlins, they're terrible. What are they, 0-8? They lost 4 to Pittsburgh. They lost to the Cardinals, and they lost 3 to the Angels. They are 0-8 to start the year. I mean, the Marlins, I hate to say this, the Marlins season's over. I mean, they're finished. I mean, they're in a tough division to begin with. Go ahead.
Here's my perspective on the Miami Marlins. This is a team, in my opinion, that decided to bring in Peter Bendix, formerly of the Tampa Bay Rays, of course, the president of baseball ops for the Tampa Bay Rays, bring him into Miami, a bigger market as far as that is concerned, and try to run the Miami Marlins like the Tampa Bay Rays. They let Kim Ng walk away, which is a mistake. Not to take anything away from Peter Bendix. I think he's a good baseball man, but the only team that can run a team like the Tampa Bay Rays are the Rays. Quit trying to run other franchises the way that the Rays do it. Miami is not that type of market. And this is the first team ever, Chris, that has started the season 0-8, and made the postseason last year. It's the first team in Major League Baseball history that hasn't won a game after making the postseason last year. They're giving up 7 runs per game. I understand they don't have Sandy Alcantara. I understand that they don't have, some of their other pitchers. And now Yuri Perez is injured and he's on the IL. They just keep taking, blows. But Luis Arraez, the, reigning batting champion, and Tim Anderson are doing absolutely nothing. So they don't have an offense. They don't have the pitching. They let Kim Ng go, and they're trying to run a big market team like a small market team, and it's just proven time and time again it's not working. Listen, they're going to get mad at me for saying it's a bad baseball market. I mean, it's a bad sports market, period. Knicks fans frequent that arena. The Dolphins never have. Dolphins are empty seats in many a scenario, and the Marlins are the Marlins. I mean, it's not a great baseball market. There's not an incredible amount of local revenue from a season ticket perspective. Their TV contract isn't superb. So as a result, they sort of have to be a kind of a mid-market team. They're never going to be able to spend, like these other franchises have. Huizinga did it one time, they won, and then he tore down the team. It's the way it is. It's a very tricky franchise from that standpoint. So I don't know what the solution is there. You're right. To have no payroll is not the answer. To have a high payroll is not going to mean anything either because they're not going to go to the games. It's a very strange spot, and it's tricky. The stadium is too big. Their fan base is 50 miles away. up in West Palm Beach area. That's when they really. It's a very strange situation. So I don't know if they ever could be consistently good, and they were pretty good last year, and this year they're bad, and they're 0-8. They haven't hit, as you said. They let a couple of guys go. Soler, of course, is a perfect example of that. He hit 30-something home runs. They changed their front office with a very good year, and they got a bunch of injuries with their pitching staff and no depth. And they're in a tough division, and they've lost their first 8 games. And remember, they lost to the Pirates and the Orioles. They didn't go out there and lose to Atlanta and L.A. It's going to be a long year with the Marlins.
Wait a minute. The Orioles are pretty dang good. The Orioles are pretty dang good, and the Pirates are off to a very good start.
No, they lost
I was
the
about
Angels.
To say.
They lost the Angels.
Okay.
The Angels.
All right.
The Angels.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Anthony Rendon to get a hit. He hasn't had a hit since 1987. All right. Welcoming now Dave Roberts, of course, the Dodgers manager. We appreciate every time that Skip comes on. Dave, thanks for being with us. We're having some technical issues. You are going to be my savior once again, my friend. You guys are off to a heck of a start. 7-2 so far in the games that you played at home, and now you're on your first road trip of the season. What has impressed you the most so far, Skip, between your first 9 games?
I think the thing that's been most impressive has been the starting pitching. We've been very consistent, outside of that first Yoshinobu game in Korea, but they've given us some length. The bullpen's been fine. We're catching the baseball, and obviously with the lineup we're running out there, guys are putting up cricket numbers. So it's been good. Really excited with the start we've had.
All right, so Bobby Miller gets his second start of the season. He shoved in his first start as a Dodger in 2024, and you need him to be good, Dave, just based on depth and waiting for some guys to come back. What impressed you about his first outing?
I think Bobby's just continuing to gain mound presence, consistency with that. I think his fastball command is as good as it's ever been. And so now when you're throwing 100, you can command it to both sides of the plate. You can mix in a breaking ball when you need to make it go left. He throws his change up for swing and miss, get a quick out right there. So Bobby has a lot of good arms and veteran people to kind of model himself after, and he's sort of making it his own right now, and we need a good one out of him today.
Yeah, happy 25th birthday, by the way, to Bobby Miller. You guys are scoring 5 or more runs in your first 9 games, Dave. Obviously, we know that the offense is potent, and I don't even think that the entire lineup is clicking yet. How dangerous can this club be?
It's scary. Obviously, Mookie's leading the charge right now. He's just playing out of this world right now, and obviously Freddie knows how to get hits and hit the outfield grass. And Shohei hit his first homer the other night, so that was good. And Will Smith is consistent as ever. But Max Muncy's doing a great job. But I think, towards the bottom of the order, these guys need to get on track. They will. And so, like you said, we're not even clicking on all cylinders. But up and down 1 through 9, Alana, we got so much talent, versus left, versus right. And it's a lot of fun watching these guys throw out hits.
Dave, Teoscar Hernandez is a bit of a surprise for me. I wasn't certain what the Dodgers were getting when they signed him, but you talk about the bottom of the order, and only Mookie has more RBIs than Teoscar Hernandez. What have you been not necessarily impressed with, but just how do you like the way that he takes his at-bats?
First off, I love that dude. If you get to know Teo, you love him, and he just comes to the ballpark every day, ready to play, ready to win. And I think for me is he's doing a good job of laying off sliders down below. When he gets a pitch that's up in the zone, he's hammering it. And so every time he touches it, it comes off really hot, and he's got some big hits for us. And fastball up and away, backside a few nights ago. Then he hit a curveball in that same game, and then he rode out his slider. So he's covering all the pitches, and he's great to have in the middle of the order.
Shohei Ohtani getting his first home run a couple of days ago. We know that he's going to hit the ball a long way many different times. What conversation did you have with him? It was my understanding that you just had a private conversation that said, hey, just take a deep breath, relax. What was that?
Yeah, no, it was just I just wanted to just kind of chat with him before the game and just see where his head was at. Obviously, he's sort of a hands-off guy, a turnkey ball player, but I think every player needs at some point in time just to have a little sit down and a check-in. And I just talked to him a little bit and hopefully tried to ease a little bit. I don't think it had anything to do with him hitting a homer, but I'm glad that he homered, and it might lead to more conversations if that's what it takes for him to hit homers.
How approachable has he been, Dave? I know that Shohei Ohtani is a pretty private person. Obviously, he has a lot of expectation on him, a gigantic contract, an international superstar. How has the dynamic been in that clubhouse with him and the rest of your guys?
Shohei's been fantastic, Alana. Obviously, when you're talking about a designated hitter, so he's sort of on his program with that, and then now you bake in the language, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But his English for me is really good, and his initiating conversation with coaches, with teammates, and then vice versa, he's been a joy. I mean, he really has, and I think for me, it's you got to treat him just like everyone else, and obviously with the respect that he's earned. But outside of that, in our clubhouse, he's been fantastic.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto, despite the first start, had a better second start. I'm going to throw out all the stuff that happened in Seoul out the window just because of the schedule and all those different types of things and the routine. But what do you need him to do, Dave, to be a legitimate part of the starting rotation and know that every time he takes the ball, every fifth day, that you have a good chance to win?
Well, I think the stuff alone will lend itself to that. I agree with throwing out that start in Korea. He cleaned up his delivery, his set position. This is a guy that has 80 command with the fastball. It's a plus split, which he really hasn't had the feel for yet in his starts. It's a really good curveball as well, and he can make the ball go left with the slider. So he's got a lot of weapons, can pitch to all quadrants, and I think for us it's more of just believing that you're a top-end guy. And as he's, as the league is learning him and his pitch mix, he's also gathering information. But, man, he's a very talented young pitcher.
All right, Walker Buehler making his second rehab start. I know that he is chomping at the bit to get back. When will Butane be back in your starting rotation?
So Walker is making a start tomorrow for that OKC team. So I'm not sure if it's 4 innings, something like that. And he's chomping at the bit, as you can imagine. So I don't know. I think it's going to be 4 rehab starts, potentially 5. Then he'll join us. So I think early part of May is fair. But obviously Walker's driving this. We want to make sure he's healthy, strong, recovering well. But when we get him back, Alana, it's going to make our rotation that much better.
No question about it. But right now, the guys in the rotation are holding their own. Dave Roberts and the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Chicago Cubs today at Wrigley. Dave, we always appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
All right, Alana, good catching up. Take care.
There is a speed bump on the front. There is a speed bump on the front. There is a speed bump on the front.
Bye.